your days. Next, please. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add to it. The world will little know, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have fought here, have thus far slowly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from this honored day we take increased devotion to that cause for which they give, the lustful measure of devotion, that we here kindly resolve that this dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have new birth of freedom, and that government be ended of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. This was delivered by, who do you think? No less than President Abraham Lincoln. You know, brethren, I don't stand here to be praised like Hamlin, who would make the audience spellbounded by his eloquence. Nor I would say that I would be as great as Abraham Lincoln, who delivered this message, the Gettysburg Address, in less than 3 minutes. But God has a message for us all, and that is my responsibility at this moment. Life after death. You know, I am trying to relate now how we can help. How the world has increased not only the Christian world in general, but particularly the Seventh-day Adventists. We have a very great responsibility, and this is my message today. Matthew chapter 6, verse 19 to 21. It says, "Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust doth corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." What's the rationale behind it? Next, please. As Seventh-day Adventists, we must not lose sight of that we have a better and greater responsibility than the satisfaction of our carnal and secular standards. We were given by the Almighty all the resources on this earth. In fact, it was said to Adam and Eve, the resources of this earth is in your hands. At the moment, we will live a life that is full of resources. You people here in the United States are living better than we people there back in the Philippines. Well, our strength in the Philippines is we don't feel that we are poor. Wala na mo batia na pobre ni. Na pobre ng daan. Maybe you can feel it, that in the Philippines, the Filipinos are living in hard times because you're living in the times of plenty. But way back in the Philippines, we have been seasoned already by difficulties because we have never been better in the time past. The book of Solomon, in his writings, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 10, it says, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole man. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." This responsibility is not given only to the time of King Solomon, But this is much greater in our times because we are already on the end time and the work has not yet finished yet. So we have to do our responsibility. One of the indecent temptations of the devil is our carnal life, especially in the US. I can tell how fortunate you are. You can live a very luxurious life. Kinabuhi sa iyong kaya. If you want to buy the things that you want, you have all the money to buy. But there is one thing that you have forgotten. You see, one of the observations I have when I arrived in the US is because the United States is unfair to the visitors, especially for the Filipinos. For myself, I earn my income in peso and I spend it in dollars. Very unfair. They should have accommodated our peso. So it makes me very expensive. When I went to the store, I could not buy anything. You try to get a calculator and then says, oh, it's too expensive. For a moment, we were not able to buy anything. So we were invited by Dr. and Dr. Apostero in San Antonio during the General Conference session. They brought us to a store where delicacies are being offered. And then Dr. Apostero said, Eddie, you can choose your menu, and please do not look at the prices. If you will never order. Well, that's later. For a moment, we got used to it already. In a way, the government has given me some privileges. I mean, I'm not saying that the government is spending for my travel, but the privilege I got from the government has some amount that I could use it in my vacation to visit my son here in the US, June. I just retired, just made last May 14, and my privileges was released one day before we left to the US. It has been a dilemma when I was thinking that the privileges would be released. But anyway, we were able to get through and we were able to see USA. So I make some budget there and said, Mama, I think we just use this amount of money and when this is consumed, then we will go up after that. So we, at the moment, we are getting used already of the prices. But we must not forget that we have a responsibility. And one of the teasing medium of the devil is debt. One more time. In the Philippines, although we have some problems on loans, but in the US, the loaners or the financiers are very fortunate because while the debtors have, or the creditors have the willingness to pay, and they also have the resources to pay. In the Philippines, when one loan in the bank, he is willing to pay, but the problem is he is not capable to pay. That's the big problem there. Especially so among the employees of the government, gusto kayo mangutang. They have been used to it because there are so many employees in the government who are now what they call it suffering from AIDS. Did you know that? AIDS. Additional income due to sideline. And many of these mangutang are taking opportunities because they were thinking that one of these days a bonus will be given, an incentive will be given, and that's the amount they are going to use for payment. And here in the US, loaners or banks are offering loans to whoever wants it. That's why you have your own credit cards. Credit cards in the Philippines is not so popular. I, for one, I I do not have a credit card because I do not want it. But then you have some uses of it, credit cards, and it becomes a necessity to you. But then we must have to be dedicated for it, because I believe going into debt is one video that the devil wants us, so we will be getting out from the responsibility given to us. Now, this may not be acceptable to you, but I guess I just have to say this and warn everyone, just as I warned this. Before going ahead, or going further, I choose this topic because I am a victim of this debt. And it's not actually that I am giving this message to you, but I am giving this message to myself. I am telling you my mistakes now. All you have to do is just listen. You might have the same mistakes, and you can adapt this. According to some sources, these are the causes of debt. Reduced income, of course, that goes to show that expenses is greater than the income. And you must be spending more than your means. And of course, you must find a remedy. And the remedy is to correct either you correct your spending or you have to increase your income. In our office, we are trying to promote the progress and prosperity of our farmers, because I am in the office of the city agriculturist. And we are giving them some measures on how they can to progress and prosper in their own lives. It's either horizontally or vertically. Meaning, if you want to earn more, you have to increase the land of the farm that you are tending. Or else, you are going to increase the harvest of your crop. That is application of technology. So, if you feel that your income has been reduced, take note, it might be that it is because of your overspending. You were not able to manage well your own finances. According to that source, divorce is another causes of debt. According to sources, more than half of the Americans, I think that includes also the Filipino communities in this area, end up in divorce. I don't know if you agree, but I would forgive you if you look at it. And what is so evil is when one party claims so much from the negotiation, then the other party has to suffer. He will be in debt. So divorce is another sort of causes of debt. And of course, more money management. You are not able to manage your finances, especially if we do not know how to budget. We have not made no plans. You know, I am a victim of this. Way back in 1975, my own mother had subscribed a burial for me. I was still single at that time. Provincial plan. Then when I get married, the government insurance, GSIS, government system insurance system, government service insurance system, GSIS, had launched a program for burial. So I guess that is a bit better. So I got another one. And then somebody offered from St. Peter Memorial, and it is a better. Then my wife told me, I think we have to get this. And then just recently my wife said, I think this is a better coffee, Papa. Naupa na akong lumulo sa akin, lumulo. Naupa na lang. Why? Because of poor management. I'm a victim. It's just fortunate that Prudential Insurance was bankrupt. So, tulo na lang. Ako na lang. Parang pabili na ko sa ngayon. And then the GSIS finally scrapped the program. So, napay ko na billing. So, I said to my wife, Mama, I think you just have to give up those two coffins for my burial, I decided to be cremated. And he said, ano, buhok mata. We're already dead. It's for us to decide how we are going to be buried. So I was telling her, you know, it has a very great advantage. I was joking to my wife and I said, it has a very great advantage once you're cremated. All you have to do is just place my ashes in a jar. Kung kulang magaling ka o saan magaling, you can place that in the kitchen. Kung wala ka, inus sa kaldero, ato na lang akong aboy, inus sa kaldero. Well, anyway, you know, that's the evil of not managing well our finances. Of course, another thing is the causes of death is underemployment. In the Philippines, we have workers there who are on the job, meaning they are not employed by the government, but because the government has projects, then they have to employ some laborers to do the project, including the skilled ones, the engineers. But they're job holders, they are not permanent workers of the government. So in the same way, some of our workers here in the US who are permanent workers, who are not regular workers, regular breadwinners in the family, then this is your dilemma. You have to program for the coming days. And then of course, another cause of death is gambling. And this is not just common in the US, but most common in the third world countries. Gambling is more common in developing countries. This is an indication of a country that is very poor. A country who has so many drunkards, and a country where the citizens are engaged in gambling is a country that is a poor country. These are indications, and that is very common in our country. Gambling is so addicting na mangutang na lang ka with the thought that you might be able to regain your losses. And if you lose, the more you will go deeper into debt. Of course, medical expenses, this could be justifiable. You have to be in debt because of medical attention. But it is not a justification. You have some measures. We have to have a measure where in times of problems, like medical problems, then you have some money to spend. And of course, little savings. We will deal deeply on this as we go through. Next, please. The Council of Stewardship of Mrs. White, page 227 says, deny yourself 1,000 things rather than run in debt. This has been the curse of your life, getting into debt. Avoid it as you would the smallpox. You see, I'm not saying that debt is totally useless, but there's some uses of it. But then if we can go out from being a debtor, then that would have been better. I'm going to tell you some justification after this. Then Mrs. White continues, deny your taste, deny the indulgence of appetite, save your pennies and pay your debts, ward them off as fast as possible, when you can stand forth a free man again, owing no one anything, you will have achieved a great victory. This is one of our predicaments before I retired. It is only after my retirement that I was able to get hold of a good amount of money. But during our life as a worker in the government, we have to struggle for our finances. It's fortunate enough that my children went to college with the help of God. But even with our finances, they were able to get through their education. And I am so grateful to the Almighty. But here are some promises. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 19, it says, and my God will meet all your needs according according to his glorious riches in Christ Jesus. Very inspiring. Now, let me tell you this. We need not have to be a debtor. We just have to program ourselves just to be able to help and progress and further the responsibility and the cause which is entrusted to us by the Almighty. We have a great responsibility, and we must not go into debt, because this is a competitor of God's word. It's alright, we can pay for our tithes, but those tithes are not ours. That's God's. So we have not offered anything, a love offering to God, if we only give our tithes. We cannot give our tithes just because we are so hard up already because of our debt. We have so many loans already, paying some insurances. And so, there are some practical tips here that will help us stay out of debt. It says here, budget your money. In other words, monitor your spending. One good thing of monitoring your spending is you will be able to know how much amount you have spent already. Pila na yung nagasto. Just the example I have given to you, nakapalit ng upat na bukong mo, saan mo lang ikaw? Hindi mo na kinala ng upat na bukong mo. In fact, one coffee is already enough. And I was thinking, why did I use this for 4 of those coffees for my body? But it was too late already. I spent it. And then, secondly is, make your savings account bills pay every month. Make a list of those. And then, in that way, you will be able to compare your income against your expenses. And of course, make more money. If your finances is not enough for your expenses, then there is no other way but to increase your income. I was telling my son, you may not need it, but there is a way of increasing your income if you want to. You still have much time, more time to indulge in some other activities so that you will be able to gain an income. How do you pronounce that? Uber or Uber? Uber. I think they're offering some opportunities to earn a good income. It's additional income due to sideline. So, we have to ask ourselves, is it practical to lower our monthly food budget just because our income is low? I think that's not a good option. Gamayan na lang mo yung pagkaon, kaya kulang yung income. I think that's not a good option. The good option is to earn more income. So the option is to make more money. And then of course, credit cards, although I am not a holder of a credit cards, but I just see it from yourself. Storya sa nangyari rin sa US. They need it, especially with they wanted to own a car. You have to be, the credit investigator has to consider your credibility through a credit card. So I think that's quite justifiable. But then we are being counseled that as much as possible, we have to find the companies that offer a low interest rate if possible. And then when you already have the credit cards, the council says, think it through before using your credit card. And the council said, if you go shopping, don't ever bring your credit card. Because this is the system of economy. we are being enticed by packing. You see? By then, you will be a victim of impulse buying. You do not have the thought of buying these things, but because it is well packed, you are being attracted. And this is the temptation that will victimize people who are not very careful in buying things. Then pay more than the minimum whenever possible to get the balance down as quickly as possible. I have a sister in San Francisco who I was able to talk to, and he loaned a house that is worth 30. The exact amount, but it says she has to pay for 30 years. That's a strategy of the bank that will hold you almost forever, paying for the interest rate. You see, banks are so witty, and they have a very good way of keeping the customers slave in their own system. And so if you can pay the loan as early as for less than 30 years, that would be much better, because according to, if you are able to compute it, I was able to compute it, for years payment, if you can pay that in 6 years, you will be able to save something like, for a house that is a house of say $150,000 or $200,000 house, you will be able to save an amount of something like $10,000 if you will be able to pay that in less than, or much higher in 6 years. So by paying it early, you will be able to save the interest charges of the bank. And banks has a very good way of getting the money from the pocket. Kawat man kung waon ng kwarta, if you get the money from the pocket of somebody, tawag na kawat na siya. But the banks has a way of getting your money from your pocket. And we have to be very careful of that, because that money in your pocket could be used to God's work, but the bank got it from you. And then, learning how to stay out of credit card debt is the best way to avoid future pitfalls. You know, there are adverse effects of being in debt. And then, this is one of our promotions with the recipients of our office, especially the cooperatives. We try to insist them, we try to persuade them that you have to have a savings. Normally, if we consider savings, we have to get the income and then deduct the expenses, and you get the savings. And with that kind of system, you will never be able to save. So, we have another formula of getting your saving. Treat the saving as your expenses. In other words, if you have an income, deduct your savings, and the rest will be for expenses. In that way, you already have your savings. And that saving can be used for God's work. If you try to, way back in when I was a member of the Executive Committee, during the time of Pastor Tagunsan and Pastor Ramos, I came to see how the difference, the disparity of the tithes and the offering. I came to know that the offering is less than 3% of the tithe. You see, if we show our love to God, it is not through the tithe, because that is His. We are obligated to return. We cannot give tithe. We can only return tithe. So it's not an indication of love by giving the tithe, because that is not ours. We cannot give anything which does not belong to us. We can only give which belongs to us, and it is the offering. And it is through this offering that we can show our love to God. Unfortunately, the world is increasing us to satisfy the crave of our carnal needs. And that is the offering is being sacrificed. And so while the church is promoting for a double tithe, we could hardly give the double tithes because of the wants. If we are going to answer our needs, in the US you have the three needs. You have the food, you have the clothing, and you have the shelter. But way back in the Philippines, we only have one need. Food. You don't need shelter. You can sleep in the pantalan, the pier if you want to. You can sleep outside. There's no winter. You can live a life without a house. For clothing, matamisita naman gani, mahubo-hubo naman gani sa gawas. You don't need those. So I'm telling the brethren, we only need food. What is our offering? Why is our offering usually 3% of that time? Imagine that. We have sacrificed the Lord's word. I am not saying that God is dependent on our income. God can do that. But our own way to show how we love God is through our offerings. And we know that our offerings have been sacrificed because of our carnal needs. And the debt, the loans that we have, the insurances, the banks, are getting a good share of that. So let's go back, but lay out for yourself treasures in heaven. May God bless us all.